Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on our YouTube account and we're going to be checking out the formations for the Treasure Scramble. Now, Treasure Scramble, of course, super excited to see within this game mode that we are actually using Rimuru and we're using Shuna. So those two heroes, of course, a lot of players were questioning if we were going to use them exactly where they're going to be used, and they're being used in a multitude of different places. Now, of course, with Rimuru, he's being used more as a support mage. It is not a primary damage dealer. And then, of course, Shuna as the support hero is doing incredibly well in a lot of different formations. So hopefully you pick them up. If not, it's going to be a little while, honestly, till you'll be able to get them out of the garrison. I know that's a question that is coming. Usually it is months after the release that you actually see these heroes coming into the garrison. That way you have the ability to pick them up. But let's hop over. We're going to check out this guide, really break it down. And of course, this is coming from the AFK guys. Love the guides that they're putting out for this game. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, guys. So here is the Treasure Scramble Volcano debuff guide from the AFK guys. Again, I'm going to put a link down below for this over on Reddit. That's where these guides are coming out. But you can see, even looking here, let's zoom in a little bit over to our first team. The Awakened version of Shamira still being absolute dominance. When it comes to AFK Arena, when it even comes to the tier list, there's a reason. It's because of how this hero is built. Now, you'll also notice that Braun is in here. That is a relatively new move. Does work incredibly well. We do have Olgath in here. We have Eugene. And then there is Rimuru. So he is making an appearance. You can also see in the substitutions. Now, for a majority of players, when it comes to Braun is kind of niche and is used in a couple different places where he can actually sneak right by the boss, or doesn't have really a big aspect where there's a level deficiency. That is where we are really seeing him shine. Now, of course, if you don't have Olgath, and I know a lot of players do not, Lady Simona is a very, very good substitute. Now, one thing to remember with this guide that we've said before is you have to think big picture when you're looking at this, because of course, in the beginning, you have two teams, but the teams just exponentially increase as you're continuing and as you're making progression within the Treasure Scramble, meaning some of these heroes are kind of overlap for substitutions. And you'll also notice there's not a lot of new heroes, or excuse me, there's not a lot of older heroes that are still following into these game modes because of the power creep. A lot of players are also wondering what happened to some of the older heroes we've seen. Guys, it's the power creep in AFK Arena. It is built by design. You're replacing your older heroes with newer heroes. The newer heroes are much stronger than those older heroes. But even looking here, Eugene you should have unless you're a new player, because Eugene actually they gave us for free. And then, of course, free to play, you could get Rimuru, absolutely free to play. And then looking at the substitutions down here. And another one in here, you'll notice that Kelton is in a couple formations, including our second team over here. It seems like predominantly he is doing pretty well utility-wise, being used in a couple different places. And I love they actually did this two-team version. So you can see there is a team right down here that you can substitute. Now this, of course, is going to be early Treasure Scramble, where you're going to do the two-team versions versus running what you're seeing right here. This is when heroes start spreading out as you do get more teams in there. The spread of these heroes is going to get much greater, meaning they're going to require in the first two teams, you have a lot of heroes available. And then, of course, when you start filling out a multitude of teams, they do get kind of spread out. But you'll notice down here, we have Ivan, we have Gavis, Lady Simona, Rimuru. We have a lot of different heroes. So even, day one, as we're sitting right now, looking at our two-team version, this one actually has Shuna instead of Rimuru because, of course, at this time, she is not used in later formations. Looking at our second team, which is the Burst team right here. Again, Kelton is in here. We're seeing a lot of different heroes in here. Vathiel I like, Tamris I like, and then of course the Awakened version of Athalia and Nemetria as well. But overall, when it comes to some of these heroes, you also do have to look at big picture utility, because if you're a hero, or let's say a player that hasn't built out Vathiel or hasn't built out Tamris, it might come in time, but overall, I do not like and I do not recommend building heroes specifically for one game mode, where again, looking at like a Vathiel, we're not really seeing him in very many places in AFK Arena. And as we continue to introduce new heroes, I feel like the utility wise is going to get less and less with the hero. Then of course, you can see some of the substitutes, and the priority for the SP effect in here is very, very huge. So you can see right here, Amatria is actually a higher priority than we find with the Awakened version of Athalia. So that is why the SP effect is right on there. Then, of course, we have Leica in here. We have Hildwyn in here. Hildwyn, very similar to what we're seeing with Rimuru, kind of that support mage kind of build. And if you have Gwen, there is a Gwen version down here. Now, of course, with Gwen, it's wicked expensive. Even on my account, I do not have Gwen built out. Very, very expensive. And then there is the 2-team version right here in the bottom that you should be running as of today, because we're still the 2-team until you move into Team 3, which here is the 3-team version. And again, kind of breaking it out a little bit more. This one is centered around that Awakened version of Belinda. We have Gavus in here, but looking at and thinking of ults, Jerome is going to buff. We have energy regeneration from the original version of Aziz. Lavatoon in here is going to buff. And then, of course, Gavus is going to be the damage mitigation factor that you have within here, allowing the Awakened version of Belinda to just literally burn through and toast all of her enemies. And then we do have the Ice Crown in here for some crowd control. We also have Fox Fatale in there, again, for some crowd control. And you can see down here, there are a few substitutions if you don't have them. And overall, I don't know if I would probably not sub in the Awakened version of Lucius right off the bat. For Jerome, I would much rather have like a Rowan in there with the energy potion to make it a lot more effective. And again, this game you're running at the same level. So that is one of the big things when it comes to the Awakened version of Lucius. Even on Tundra, when it comes to level deficiencies, they get absolutely toasted. But when you start looking at the ability to put heroes in here at the exact same level, they do perform exceptionally well. Team number 4 is our dimensional. So right here we do have, and look, still running Albedo in here. And then we do have Amelia in here. Super, super strong with crowd control. And then, of course, the Ice Crown is in there. Awakened version of Sevilla. Naruko is another one. A lot of players question, why is Naruko so good? When you think of a tank, when you think of even the ad, which she summons Nadia, which is that giant worm she has. But overall, when you look at the hero buffs, the hero heals, can take damage, does provide a incredible amount of utility as a tank. Pretty much everything that you want a hero to do in AFK Arena, Naruko can do it, which does work. Maybe not in the best capacity, but overall definitely works. Now you'll also see there are a few different burst versions down here, and even running right here, Liberta and Lucila together in the PvP aspect are super, super strong. Now down here, Ulna Rem is still alive and doing well. We have Leica in here, Demia, and then again, here is Gwen. If you don't have Gwen, we have Kelthin in here. We have a couple other heroes that we've kind of seen. And of course, Panda Dumpty is running in here, providing that crowd control, but also providing the ability to hide these heroes. And Ulna Rem is still, again, doing very, very well. Steel Team 6, this is another one that I love. This relies on your Slumbering Seal. So when it comes to beasts, Slumbering Seal is still the #1 beast because of the damage that the beast does put out. And even here, guys, Liberta will do quite a bit, but honestly, it's going to be eclipsed by the seal. And you can see in here, Hildwyn is the substitution for literally everyone, because you're not so concerned about the heroes within this game mode. You're worried about keeping the heroes alive and the ability for the heroes to revive. Even looking at Taylene will come back to life. Looking up here at Lucila will come back to life. Brutus is incredibly hard to kill. And then, of course, we are running Merlin in here. Merlin is going to provide a lot of that damage mitigation, very similar to what we see in Hildwyn. But again, you have to make sure who you're running within formations, because Hildwyn is being run right here with the Awakened version of Lucius. And then Melion is in here as well to buff up Hildwyn, as well as other heroes. Now, of course, with this one, even looking at Adrian and Elise, this is a big one. Adrian and Elise requires a pretty good size build, as in a +40 signature item, to see the full effectiveness that we do have here. The 30 will work because Lucius is going on the enemy side, but overall, to see the full effectiveness of everybody, it would be really good to have the 40 on Adrian and Elise, and it's quite a high commitment to go ahead and build that out. And again, even looking down here, you can see Misha is actually in here for Melion. So we're starting to see an incorporation for a hero who has just been out very, very few days. We also do have Halos in here, if you're an older player that is running Halos. And then, of course, it says no Awakened version of Lucius. There's the substitution, which is the Awakened version of Belinda in there. So again, some substitutions. And the bonus one in here is still running Tarnos in here, which again, very, very strong hero. PvP wise, it's literally the reason why anyone has ever used it. Now, of course, if you don't have Tarnos, Aethys is a very solid tank Probably one of the best tanks that we've seen for an incredible amount of time. Even Neevy's in here, and then Misha, of course, showing an appearance. And I really feel like Misha is going to make a big difference. Just going to take some time to find exactly where she's going to be in and where she's going to fit. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for our Treasure Scramble Volcano debuff guides. Again, big shout out to the AFK guys for putting these together. Awesome, awesome content. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.